power, justice, darkness, light. Two halves of an ancient puzzle are the only hope.
Hello and welcome to Video City, where there's no membership required and no one wants to party with Victor Geisman. I'm Brent.
I'm Joe.
I'm Travis.
And today we are reviewing the 1994 film Double Dragon, based off the hit arcade game / series of the same name. I believe, Joe and Travis, this was your initial pick for the show, so please tell us a little bit about the choice and why it was chosen.
Well, we wanted to start with Double Dragon because I just figured it's a good launching off point. It's campy, it's fun. Some people remember it, but it's not one of the big three of video game movies that came out in the same time. So it has a little more excitement to it, a little mystery,
A little bit of mystery.
a little intrigue.
Yeah, they had, sweet secret handshakes.
Dude, right?
It was, you got to go this. You messed it up every time when you tried it with anybody.
Yeah, it's one
So
high
it
five
always-
and one fist bump.
Yeah,
And you
for
catch
those of you that are, because this is an audio medium.
For now.
For now. One hand up, you're doing a dap as well as a high five.
Yes.
Yeah, but would people would you
they-
both do the left hand and then you'd be like, shit, you got to do the right.
Exactly,
and I gotta
yeah.
do the-
You would instead of you'd high five and fist bump instead of where you're supposed to be just catching each other.
Ah, yeah, it's catch the fist. Yes. And then you'd be like, what are you doing? And you're like, the secret handshake from the Double Dragon movie?
exactly.
And then you get your ass beat.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
You don't know
got it.
karate.
You got it.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, of course.
Checks out.
So now I have not. This is actually my first time seeing Double Dragon. I never saw it. I liked the game. It was one of those eras of arcade / NES games or NES games based off arcade games that are really fucking hard.
Yeah, me and my brother, we had this on Commodore 64 because we are made of dust and we are ancient.
Yeah.
And it was impossible to beat the first level. And plus, you can hit each other in it, and it actually takes away health. So my brother and I would end up fist fighting during this game.
In real life?
In real life.
Okay, yeah. You would Billy and Jip, like how they have they do a little sparring in here. Spoiler alert. You would do that with your brother.
Yes, but less graceful and more slappy.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was less graceful. Scott Wolf has some pretty ungraceful karate moves in this movie.
I can't
Jeez,
believe.
Scott Wolf.
I can't believe that Party of Five guy Scott Wolf. Anyway, we'll get to that. So you've seen the movie.
Yes.
Okay. What is your memory of seeing the movie, Joe?
Well, so when I was young, there was this kid across the street, and I had no concept of how divorce worked or like joint custody or anything. So he was just the kid that was there sometimes.
Yeah.
So one time when he was actually there,
Every other weekend.
I don't think it was. I think it was like he'd show up in the summer a little bit.
Oh, okay. So
His dad kind of sucked.
yeah.
But one time he was actually there. Instead of playing our like Crystal Caves and Commander Keen on his computer, he's like, I got a tape. So we watched it, and I guess it wasn't fully rewound. So I think we came in towards the end when they were already at Power Core HQ, because
Okay.
that's all I remember. And I was like, this movie's awesome.
Yeah.
And then we watched it again, and there's more to it.
There is a lot more to, not really a lot more to it, but I
There's
do
a lot
think
more
that
time to it.
there is more. There is at least 2/3 more time to it. Yeah. Travis, what are your memories of Double Dragon?
I remember seeing it in the movie theater when it came out, and it has been one of those staples for me that I will go back every couple years and rewatch. It's not a great movie by any means, but it's of the time, and it's wonderful to put you just back in that, because when it was 94 when it came out, so we're like, yeah, I'm Double Dragon, I'm gonna be a ninja like that. That's you were 9 or 10 years old. That was super cool. He's a video game ninja. You get to wear real dorky rhinestone studded outfits.
Now, did you? Okay, so the movies so a little bit behind the scenes. We watch a few movies at the same time. We're recording these in batches. The first batch, and I won't spoil what else we're watching, but I realized that like that part of the 90s was such a thing about like pollution is such an ongoing.
Oh yeah,
Like you all wanted to be a karate fighter that also fought pollution.
Yeah.
it was post-apocalyptic in the future, and
It
We
was
had
kind
the
of
ozone crisis going on.
the hole in the ozone
there
was a
you go.
big deal
That's
back
what it was.
then. Yeah. And but here's what I
it's
want
not
to
anymore.
ask.
We fixed it, so it's fine.
It's perfectly right. Like, no one talks about it anymore.
Much
so I
less
assume it's
hairspray is being used these days, so we're good.
No chlorofluorocarbons.
No CFCs.
Yes. Did any of you ever take Taekwondo classes?
My brother took Kung Fu, and I went a couple times.
Okay, there we- Kung
Mainly,
Fu.
I sat in the living room of the place, and I watched WMAC Masters.
Okay. Did you ever do?
No, I've done no martial arting before.
That was just like the thing. There was like one Taekwondo school in my little hometown, and it was like all the nerds who could not play football. That's how we would try to like get any cred, is be like, well, I can do katas, you know, like I can hit poses and kick very softly, like whatever. Anyway, okay. I'm already off track. Great start. Yeah, I have never seen this. Fan of the video games. They were hard as hell. The last third of this, Joe, I think you got the best part of it, because the last third is actually kind of
the
a
last
treat.
third is good.
The first 2/3, you know, we'll
They're
get
there.
to it. But so, Joe, you need to give us a little bit of background about what's going on in the world at the time Double Dragon is released.
Okay, well, if you happen to be fortunate enough to not go see Double Dragon in theaters, the number one movie at the time was Stargate, which was, from what I remember, actually pretty good. They made enough shows about it. The number one song on the radio at the time was Boys to Men, I'll Make Love to You.
Oh, yeah. Classic.
Like You Want Me To.
Classic. The middle school dance, awkward classic. Where they, you know, the DJ would struggle to get the appropriate amount of horny for a 10-year-old doing the Leave Room for Jesus.
There's
straight arm dance.
nothing better than a room full of middle school kids while 4 adult men are talking about how they want to make love to you.
Yeah,
just to set the mood.
And the creepy, you know, DJ who they, you know, the school district hired, probably the cheapest one they could find. Probably one of the kids' like weird older brothers, like the fail son older brother, you know, who's like, I'm a DJ for like school dances.
Y'all went to way more fun schools than I did.
You know,
We had a lot of country and NSYNC.
oh, we had that too.
That's about it.
NSYNC was a little past middle school for me. That was kind of early high school, I think. You're a little younger than
I think I'm just 1 year younger.
Really?
Yeah, how old are you?
I'm 38.
Me too.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I guess we're the same age.
We're
I
all
thought that was
there.
more of a high school thing. But
Probably in its peak. But the best part was I went to a Catholic school also. So
Oh,
now I'm in a
yikes.
Catholic school, but the music didn't change from public school to Catholic school, which was always weird because then you're like, but Jesus is here.
No, it got raunchier. I went to some Catholic school
Jesus lives
proms.
here.
I went to some Catholic school proms, and they had way raunchier music.
it's
Yeah,
all the
it was-
repression.
It was bananas.
It was.
Yeah. I think that I'll Make Love to You is awkward enough, but at least that's the slow dance that you're required to like to do the arm length thing. When it would really pop off is when they would throw on Genuine's Pony for some
Oh,
reason.
every time.
Every time.
Bam.
Which, side note, slight tangent. A couple of friends of mine made a playlist that is called Songs That Are Too Horny to Fuck To. And they were like, what do you mean by that? And it was called Hornt. And I was like, no, there's some songs that are about sex, but no one has ever fucked to them because no one can actually take it seriously. And they're like, what do you mean? I'm like, Genuine's Pony. Like, that is the uber example. Like, no one has ever fucked to that song. It's too horny. You can't take yourself seriously, right?
I mean, that's fair.
Yeah, I think so. Anyway, okay. That's that tangent. Anyway, what was on the alternative music chart?
Oh, it was Zombie by the Cranberries.
Zombie.
It was their big breakout hit.
Big breakout hit that I think is about the Troubles.
Yeah, it's about the Troubles.
Yeah. I mean, like a really dark song,
Yeah.
but it goes hard. It still
And
goes hard.
If you listen to it now, I don't know how it was ever a hit.
Yeah,
It's bizarre.
It's real, like, kind of slow and
Yeah, brooding.
serious and brooding.
And at
yeah.
the end,
Yeah,
make wild noises.
That's
Why
a lot
not?
of their hits, though.
that's true. And rest in peace to the singer. I think she died
Yeah, a few years ago.
2 years ago. Yeah, not to date it. The recording of this, but at the current time, the song just came on the Showtime show Yellow Jackets that I am currently watching. I didn't like its use. Thought it was a little too cute for itself, but you know, it was good to hear the Cranberries.
It's always good to hear the Cranberries.
Yeah. So
Now, if you're watching TV tonight, on Fox, The X-Files episode 3 premiered, which is the first episode to not feature Gillian Anderson as her character Dana Scully because she had been abducted in the previous episode.
so this is like the alien abduction, or no, it wasn't an alien, right?
I think they were getting her off the show because she was pregnant.
That's right. I mean, yeah, that's the actual practical reason. I never watched. The
I mean
X-Files.
aliens.
Yeah, she was pregnant by an alien, right?
Why not?
Sure, yeah.
Aliens are fun.
Speaking of X Files, we'll get to in a bit. Robert Patrick, recurring character in the X Files.
Yeah, late seasons. He was Doggett. Doggett?
Sure. Yeah, I just saw it on his IMDb. you know.
Oh, yeah, when Mulder wanted to take a break, or Duchovny.
Oh, he took the lead.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
And then the show kind of tanked.
Yeah, well, you know, Vince Gilligan, right?
Yeah, the one who did Breaking Bad.
Yeah, he didn't know how to land the plane yet on the show.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then they did the other one, the one with the 4 guys, the nerds.
Oh, Lone Gunman.
Lone Gunman. That's it.
Oh yeah,
There we go. Yeah.
Wasn't technically Millennium in the same universe too?
Was Millennium? I remember watching Millennium.
Or did it just feel like the same thing?
That'd be a whole. I can't talk about Millennium because that's going to be a whole other tangent about how I was super scared about the world ending in like 1999.
Oh no.
Maybe we'll watch like End of Days or something, and I can go into my
There you go. I'm
down
paranoia
for
about that. So, anything else about the important things going on at the time?
Yeah, just to give a frame of reference for where the world was at. In San Francisco, the first conference to focus exclusively on the subject of the commercial potential of the World Wide Web was held.
The information superhighway.
Also, the United Center in Chicago opens for his first sporting event with the Bulls defeating the Hornets 89-83, 3 days after retiring Michael Jordan's number 23 jersey. And a day before the movie came out on November 3rd, the first PlayStation console was released in Japan.
Oh,
Okay, so in Japan.
Yeah, in Japan.
yeah, not here.
We didn't get the good stuff for a little while still.
Wait, how long did it take? Because I saw that on your fact sheet and I was like, there's no way. But I had one by the time I think I was like 12. So maybe like the next year.
Final Fantasy VII was on PlayStation 1, right?
Yes. Oh, absolutely.
Because I had that, I think, in middle school.
Yeah, I mean, it is middle school. Yeah, because this is, I would be 10 years old when this movie came out. I think by the time I was 12, I had a PlayStation.
And I remember it took at least a year for good games to come out.
Yeah.
Are you saying that Parappa the Rapper was not a good game?
I love Parappa the Rapper.
Yes.
Guys, he's wrong, actually. Parappa the Rapper fucking rules.
No. Pass.
And it holds up. Anyway, what about Jammer Lammy?
That's just sounds.
Brent, you're having a stroke. All right. So I'll give a quick rundown here. Double Dragon, 1994. James Yukich, I think Yukich. Best known for directing the music video for the band Genesis's 1986 single Invisible Touch.
So good.
Brings us the big screen adaptation of the 1987 arcade hit Double Dragon. The movie stars Party of 5-star and apparently future voice of Trunks from Dragon Ball Z. I just learned this. Scott Wolf, future Iron Chef America chairman Mark Dacascos. Robert Patrick, fresh off his role as the T-1000 and a great, aware kind of role choice for his career. And Alyssa Milano, post Who's the Boss and pre-prolific Twitter poster. The plot, such as it is, centers around villain Victor Geisman, played by Patrick, seeking out the two halves of the Double Dragon medallion, which was never in the video game, at least not the first few.
Only in the cartoon.
An ancient Chinese artifact that would grant him vaguely defined karate powers and allow him to take over the semi-post-apocalyptic city of New Angeles. We'll get to what happened to Old Angeles, or Los Angeles, briefly, or shortly. His search for the medallions puts him in the path of the brothers Billy, and Jimmy, two wisecracking karate prize-fighting orphans under the care of Satori Amada, played by former Walker, Texas Ranger regular and former Scientologist Julia Nixon. The brothers Lee are bequeathed the missing second Double Dragon medallion, which Satori received from their deceased father, and they are hunted down by Geisman, now going by the name or title, I'm unsure, of Koga Shuko, which is apparently the very un-Chinese name of an ancient Chinese warlord. Thus begins an action-packed game of cat and mouse involving boat chases, explosions, beat-em-up hijinks, and truly questionable special effects choices as the brothers Lee embark on a magical quest of self-discovery, and Billy, hopefully, in the end, gets to touch a boob. Let's talk about Double Dragon.
So, I had no idea there was a beginning to this movie. So that blew my mind. I went into this, when I hit play, I was fully expecting to see the headquarters. And then suddenly we're just outside.
Okay, so you said when you first saw it, you started about 2/3 of the way.
Yeah.
Okay, so...
And that was the only thing I'd ever seen. I never watched it again.
Oh, you never rewatched it?
No.
Oh, okay. I thought you said in the story that you had actually watched it again.
No, just now.
Okay. Okay, so... yeah, so you get this, like... You start with a nice... This is the second movie of this group that we're starting, that we're reviewing, that starts with a CGI opening. In this case, a spinning the Double Dragon medallion and someone talking about ancient fucking times or whatever. Who cares? It's just some backup, some bullshit. And yeah, it starts... It talks about it's an ancient Chinese relic. Then it just opens and it says somewhere in China.
Yeah, just somewhere. It is
somewhere.
You know, it's China.
And I feel like you would have to forgive me for thinking this is starting in ancient China. I was like, oh, they're going to give us the background of the Double Dragon medallion.
No.
No. It turns out this is absolutely modern day. Of course, so you get a group of these shadow warrior ass dudes. They're all dressed like ninjas, and they beset upon this provincial village somewhere in China. Of course, everyone knows karate, and they all start karate fighting each other. Very sensitive and accurate, and so that's kind of what happens. But we do get that someone is looking for one half of the Double Dragon Medallion, which is found in a cave.
You sure?
Yeah, and you see the leader, and I'm like, oh, this is about colonialism. The white person ruining China. It's because it's a blonde haired, blue eyed woman takes off her mask, and she takes the one half of the medallion.
Now, she's actually from the games.
She is?
Yeah, Linda Lash. She's the one with the whip.
Okay, so she's like a common enemy.
Yeah.
Because there's like mini Linda Lash.
There's several Linda Lashes.
Yeah. Oh, we'll get to the stars of the game showing up in the
because I want to talk about how terrible of a weapon is a whip.
Okay.
What kind? Look, I love Indiana Jones. That's iconic. But I got to think, if someone's coming at me with a whip, sling a whip around my waist. I'm sorry. I'm much heavier than this young Linda. She's not going to pull me towards her because she got super whip powers.
She's secretly swole. You don't know this.
She might actually have secret whip powers.
Getting a little bit ahead of myself, she shoves a spear through a metal grate and shreds it like fucking cream cheese. She's pretty strong, I think.
But a whip is a terrible weapon.
It's a bullshit weapon. I mean, it's like you got to rear back. I bet it hurts like hell to get whipped.
It probably doesn't feel good.
It breaks the sound.
Even Indiana Jones, when faced with a dude with a sword, he didn't pull out the whip.
And
he
plus,
just shot him. Done.
You get a lot of notice that it's coming.
Yeah, exactly.
And then all it takes is sidestep.
Yeah, a lot of wind up. And so we get this opening scene, we cut forward, and now we are in the city of New Angeles, formerly Los Angeles, but we are told this is after the big quake. That was another thing. I mean, I guess it's still a thing that, California sits on a fault line.
Yeah.
One day it will sink into the ocean. I feel like that was a much more common thing that people thought about, in the 90s.
They just had so many movies in the 90s where the future was some ruined version of, Southern California.
And we'll do another one when we do Escape from L.A.
Yeah, because it broke off at that point.
Yeah,
right? That's the whole thing.
L.A. had completely separated from...
Demolition Man.
Yes.
Yeah? See?
Yeah.
No one sets movies in a broken off Los Angeles anymore. It's like just a very 90s thing. So we're introduced to Robert Patrick looking like as 90s as possible. Just
so
his
good.
look is
He's got the Vanilla Ice fade.
Killer.
He's got the bleach.
Like just the goatee, the suit. I mean, and his performance in this movie, there is chewing the scenery, and there is you didn't even taste it. You ate it so quickly. You inhaled it. That is him in this. He seems to be having a blast. I'm sure he's very ashamed of this.
No.
He's not.
He enjoyed making the movie.
Hell yeah. Good for him. I would too.
And he enjoyed the character. He's like, it's fun to be menacing and also, kind of fun.
The fun, the quintessential. He's a very quintessential 90s kid-ish movie villain.
Yeah, he's the big heavy.
Yeah, the big heavy, kind of funny, a little smarmy and jokey, but also got to turn on the thread a little bit of the time.
Sweet 8-inch shoulder pads.
Yeah. Oh.
Hell yes.
Killer.
Bring those back.
So we kind of get introduced to him. He's just your stereotypical big bad guy. He wants to get this medallion. He has one half that was retrieved by Linda Lash. Linda Lash?
Yeah, Linda Lash.
Okay, Linda Lash, yeah. I'm going to absolutely forget some character names. And so he's looking for the other half because, as I said before, he will get some vaguely defined power that will allow him to take over. Specifically, he only wants New Angeles. He says, I just want one major American city. Is that so much?
He's not asking a lot.
He's not greedy. I mean...
He's a regional warlord. But he, I think, activates it the first time in this first scene. And it absolutely does. Because he turns into a toon from Who Framed Roger Rabbit. He becomes two-dimensional and black and white. And it's like someone just hit, I don't know what the equivalent of Adobe After Effects would be like here, but they're throw on every distortion filter where he's bubbling, his
wiggling.
eyes are wiggling. Yeah, he's this.
It's the judge when he got hit by the steamroller.
Yeah, he got hit. Yeah, exactly. He got hit with the toon juice.
Healed himself up.
Yeah, he's like, whoa. Yeah, exactly. So the first part to me was when he holds the medallion, just cartoon light beams come out of his hand.
It's so good.
Absolutely incredible. So we then cut to a karate tournament with the brothers Lee. They're fighting Team Red, I guess because the other people have red hair. Seems very creative. Billy is the jokester of the duo. He's the younger brother and, wisecracking. Lots of one-liners. I didn't write down any of them.
Good.
Yeah. So, and Jimmy is the more serious, like, you got to get it together, Billy. Anyway, they end up actually losing. And then Billy gets a little bit mocked by the lead of Team Red, and then they start another fight. The whole time in this scene, they're in this like underground blood sport fight pit deal, and there's just a guy cranking something.
Yeah, it's the stabilizer for the building.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, because it's California, so everything's unstable. So
Okay.
they have all these braces.
So there's
put in.
this, I think he's a little person.
Yeah.
And he's
cranking.
There's like a jack that he's just going, and I completely missed it. I was like, what is this guy doing? So all bedlam breaks loose. It's a pure six brawl, as it were. The whole crowd starts going, and this guy is just dedicated to, he's keeping it
jacking.
cranking. He's jacking it. He's jacking it hard and fast. And I guess that's to keep the roof from collapsing on everybody.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's good. Okay. All right, cool. It's a fucking riot, and it's great. We cut to a news thing that for some reason George Hamilton and Vanna White are newscasters, talking about Madonna getting divorced from
Tom Arnold.
Tom Arnold. Yeah.
You know what channel that was?
Channel 69.
Nice.
right.
Nice. Yeah, the sex number. And then we cut to Andy Dick for some reason, I think doing
He's
like
the weatherman.
He's the weatherman.
Why?
I don't know. I don't
Forgot
think
he existed.
I had happily forgotten
Yeah.
that Andy Dick existed, and I was very rudely reminded of it. I never found him funny.
No,
And I think he's an asshole, right?
pretty sure.
I mean, he is.
He seems like
But,
it.
yeah, exactly. Okay. So basically, we then cut to Satori, who is the adoptive.
So I want to correct you on something.
Yes.
You gave her credit for Walker, Texas Ranger, but not for the things that actually matter.
Okay.
She was Noreen in Sidekicks.
Oh, shit.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Filmed here in Houston.
Yep.
Really?
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
Okay, I saw that she was in some like other action movie.
Also, the thing I actually remembered her from was this random one episode she was in of Kung Fu: The Legend Continues.
Okay, she was a guest star.
Yeah.
There's lots of guest spots. I'm like, when I'm talking, I just think Walker Texas Ranger is the funnier one because it went for a long time, and I always think of the Conan O'Brien Walker Texas Ranger lever. That's me, but
My grandma liked that show, so I hated it.
Okay, yeah. Well, it's a bad show. So, that's why I did it. That's the joke, Joe.
Oh, I get jokes.
Yeah. So they're driving through. So Satori, who is the adoptive mother figure / person exactly as old as Billy and Jimmy.
Sister mom.
Sister mom. There we go. Yeah, sister mom, which is probably a kink, is driving them home. They kind of pass through like a Skid Row-ish area, and we see some street tough types, and we learn that in New Angeles, during the day, the cops rule the streets, but they have reached a treaty with the gangs to where at night, the cops leave and the gangs can run wild. So there is a curfew every night. And it's if you're on the streets at that point, you're taking your life in your
So
own
it's
hand.
like that, The Purge,
It's like the yeah, but like
but cartoon The Purge.
and nightly instead of just one day. And yeah, and it's cartoon and
maybe
everyone
less
kung fu
murder.
fights. Yeah. I don't think do people die people should die in this movie based on like what happens to them.
The script writer.
But everyone just instead learns martial arts. You do see some dude with some frog hands. They come back later. They have these like bubble fingers.
Yeah, they look like
It's
tree frogs.
Never explained, but I guess they're just,
one of the mini gangs in New Angeles.
Yeah.
Yeah, you gotta have your
with
game
the
gimmick.
mailman and the
Dude, when the mailman just jumps off at that one point,
he's going to attack somebody, so he just jumps off the side of a high rise.
bonsais them. Just like let's go. Was that culturally insensitive? Anyway.
no, because you used the wrong word,
Oh yeah, that's right. Okay, good. I'm thinking the bonsai drop by Yokozuna. That's
Yep.
what I'm thinking of.
which is also culturally insensitive.
Yeah, because he was Samoan. Anyway, so then we are introduced to, I guess this would be our second villain from the games if Linda Lash was one. A Bobo. Bo, a Bobo,
Bo.
played by, I don't have his name here, and I'm very sorry. He was kind of a career inch heavy
Yeah.
guy. Vaguely, I actually I want to say vaguely, but definitely Native American inspired. They have Mohawks, his gang. I
Yeah,
think
they are the Mohawks.
They
That's
are the Mohawks. And Bo begins chasing after the brothers Lee and Satori.
Now, one thing about the Mohawks.
Okay.
So when I first rewatched it, I watched it on VHS, and it looked great.
Okay.
And then I watched it again to make notes, the Blu-ray. And you can totally see the line for where the mohawk is glued
skull
on.
cap,
Okay.
The skull cap is
But
painfully
tape,
obvious.
On tape, it looks so good.
Yeah, that's, I mean, the magic of videotape. And
Because it looks so bad.
240p or whatever you would
Oh, it's
classify
just
it
enough
as.
pee.
Just a perfectly normal amount of pee.
I hear that's average P. That's
Average P?
yeah.
Average P. That's an average P?
That's an
I mean,
average.
over the course of the world, that's the average.
1080 is a lot of pee.
So we get kind of a Mad Max X Double Dragon scene where like Abobo is driving this like killdozer kind of after them. He's also having the time of his life. The guy that's playing Abobo, just really goofing it up, hamming it up. He's got his little shitty sidekick. He's like the Witness Me guy from Fury Road. Like,
Oh, yeah.
he's that kind of dude.
Dude from Weird Science, the show.
Weird Science TV.
Wait, that guy was on Weird Science.
He was one of the main characters on the TV show Weird Science.
Oh,
Not
wait.
the actual movie.
Yeah, no. Okay, we're talking about the guy in this movie. I thought we meant the guy who's the dude in.
Oh,
Fury
no,
Road.
not Beast.
Oh,
Yeah, the guy who plays Hank McCoy. Yeah. He's like a really good actor. Anyway,
No, he was not on the USA original Weird Science,
Weird Science,
TV,
the TV
show.
show. Yeah, which I love Weird Science, the movie, and I think I like.
I loved the show.
So while they're driving, Abobo is looking at this like Dave and Buster's VR ass like map.
Dude, did you wait? No, you lived on the northeast side. You lived on the south side. So neither of y'all probably went to Memorial City Mall.
Oh, I absolutely went to
Yeah.
Jungle Jim's Playland at Memorial City Mall.
Do you remember
Absolutely.
Exhilarama?
Yes, of course.
They had those big drop down VR
Yes,
headsets.
yes,
it
the
looked just
game.
like that.
That's what I'm talking.
Yeah.
It's that 90s
so
VR.
good.
I mostly remember from Dave and Buster's, but like, yeah, it's that huge headset that
Yep.
weighed 1,000 pounds, and like you'd get a neck workout, but yeah, these like blocky,
Just green
polygonal-
blocks.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and like that is what he is.
like, oh,
absolutely
I'm in a
working
tank,
on.
I
Yeah.
guess.
That's yeah, exactly.
I've been told.
So they, through some good driving, and I guess they get. This is where I totally missed this watching it. They shove Cheese Whiz.
Yeah, so their car is powered by trash. So they swerve off at one point and grab all that newspaper from the
Okay.
side of the road, but they're not going fast enough. So they grab a can of Cheese Whiz, and he's reading off the ingredients, and he even reads off the like "do not expose to heat" part.
Okay.
like this ought to work. I'm stupid because it's Billy.
Was that Billy? Okay, yeah, of course.
Throws it in there, boom, cheese.
That is Scott Wolf's voice, by the way, an excellent. Hey, I'm a Scott Wolf, Billy Lee. Okay, so they
Right?
they get a Nas boost from the Cheese Whiz.
yeah,
Which
Fast and
then
Furious
becomes a
style.
running joke, and I totally missed it. I was like, "Why the fuck is this car?
Why is the engine
covered in
full of cheese?
and the map or the newspaper?" Anyway,
Oh yeah, the newspaper.
so yeah, he reaches into the glove compartment, opens up a newspaper that is covered in melted cheese. I was completely lost at this point. Throws it out the window. Abobo can't see it. Smacks the windshield. Anyway, they get in a wreck. At this point, weird shot alert. They for some reason cut to the little dipshit henchman's mouth, just opening an oh, like he's screaming like oh no, and it's like this extreme close up of his mouth for like 1 or 2 seconds. Then they get in a wreck. It was very, very weird.
Very jaw wiggling too.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, exactly. Very cartoony. That's kind of the deal.
Very 90s.
So they crash. The brothers Lee and Satori get away, and they meet up at the Power Core, I believe. Here, no, they are confronted.
Yeah, they're confronted by
by
Power
the
Core.
leader of Power Core and the gang, Alyssa Milano, who, I mean, in this thing, the short bleach blonde hair,
Love it.
doing it for me.
Love it.
Doing it. I would risk it all for Alyssa Milano in this movie. She's great. She's a lot of fun. She's playing Marion, who is the girlfriend of Billy, who in the game gets punched in the stomach, and you're trying to.
And killed in the sequel.
She gets killed.
Yeah, they up the stakes in Double Dragon 2. Instead of the punch at the beginning, they just shoot her.
Oh my god, poor Marion.
But they bring her back to life at the end.
Okay, so they get like a special stone or something, kind of like a Ninja Gaiden kind of thing.
It's Double Dragon. I never made it to the end. I just know.
That's true. Yeah, I got past like 2 levels,
Yep.
and then it
I
gets
was like,
really
ugh,
hard.
Now there's 5 Abobos.
Yeah, they're just throwing a bobos at you, and you're dead. So, basically, they meet that. She's a little, kind of a tough. Turns out she's the daughter of the police chief of New Angeles, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah. So she's kind of like doing this. She's keeping she's taking it to the streets at night, basically, and he's like the daytime guy. But he does not know about her secret
My
life.
favorite part about the whole secret part is the bleached wig or the bleached hair is the real hair. And then she puts on her Marion wig when she gets home.
Yes. I have commentary about the Marion wig, and we'll get to that. So we cut then to a Bobo having failed on his mission, goes back to Victor Geisman, and they're like, "You failed. We're gonna do something with you." And they open up a dentist chair, and a Bobo freaks out. Like he's like, the chair is not. I mean, it opens up in kind of an ominous way, but it's just a fucking
Yeah, it
chair.
opens like a pod.
Yeah, but it's just a dentist chair, and he's like, ah! And he just completely loses his mind. I guess he does not like the dentist.
Maybe he watched Super Mario Brothers and thought they were going to de-evolve him.
And they kind of do. He actually gets the freak Slurpee, which we'll
He
get to
gets
later.
thick.
He gets thick. He got his freak. He freaked on it. We then cut to Milano in her Marion wig, having breakfast with her dad. I said throws on a wig and the newest pajamas from the nurse practitioner catalog. Like she just looked like a very nice lady who's going to take your blood pressure. You know?
Yeah.
It's kind of charming. She looked way older with the wig on. Like it aged her like 10 years.
She didn't have a cool ass jacket.
Yeah, exactly.
One of my notes was, "That's a cool jacket," because I'm very detailed.
That's the kind of hard hitting commentary you come to Video City for.
You know, I'm a film major.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah,
That's
exactly.
not true.
Okay. We get to then. This is when Victor Geisman, his plan fully in action. He now knows. He learns that the brothers Lee have the other half of the Double Dragon medallion, or at least Satori does, not the brothers Lee at this point. He goes to this underground blood sport pit, I believe that's here, and he says that he is now Kogashuko. I think this is.
Oh, it's a meeting of all the gangs?
Is that here or is that a little later? This is where he first mentions that he's Kogashuko.
I think it's before the theater.
Okay. So that happens. This is when he first confronts Lee and the Lee brothers and Satori. I think he announces himself as Kogashuko. He knows Satori from the past, and we don't exactly know how yet.
That's at the Lee Brothers theater headquarters.
That's it, yes. So they make it back to their headquarters, but Kogashuko is hot on their trail. They have a showdown. And what's funny about Geisman is that really, for most of this movie, he like sucks at karate. Like they just like punch him once. Like he's like, all right, get him. And then Satori just comes up and knees him in the gut and like kind of
drops.
Forearm checks him. He's like, get him. He just is immediately fucking owned by this like tiny woman. She does a dive.
He never drops a cigarette the entire time.
He does not, because he has like the holder.
Yes,
which
he's
is
a
like
pro.
very Cruella de Vil-esque. He's got it in the
Prime-
lips.
prime asshole. Yeah. I actually had a cigarette holder.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, hell yeah. Yeah, we used to be pieces of shit.
That's true.
So
Bonafide.
Satori at one point does a fucking dive kick, which is just the most video game ass thing. Like the jumping side kick where one leg is extended. Like and you do that in Double Dragon.
Oh, yeah.
She hits the shit out of him with that thing and sends him flying. It ruled. But then he takes the dragon medallion. He again turns into a fucking toon. To get away, he turns into a shadow and just kind of like slinks away on the floor. And like it is Roger Rabbit as hell. Like it's so cartoony looking. And then then we get new a Bobo comes in, this new Bane fucking roided up version. But I wanted to make this one note here. As Shadow Geisman is going away, he trills his fingers along the piano keys, like in a completely unnecessary gag where it's like, I think he's going downward on it. So, but maybe they play it upward. Who the fuck knows? But he just runs his fingers along, his shadow fingers, which I guess are still somehow corporeal, over piano keys for a fucking sound/sight gag. Completely unnecessary. This movie rules. I've been talking way too much. Talk about what's going on so far.
Well, this is the good theater fight scene is where we find notorious, infamous henchman Al Leong.
Yes.
Who is the henchman of all henchmen. He had a documentary called Henchman, the Al Leong story. Because he's just, if you think of a henchman in any kind of martial arting movie, that guy's in it. So much so that they made a documentary about him and about how he's in all the movies as the henchman. We did find out that the easiest way to then subdue a henchman is to trap his ponytail in a briefcase.
Was that in this fight?
Yeah, that was in this fight.
Hell yeah.
That'll get him every time.
Then he's got to carry it around. They didn't lock it or anything. He just forgot to.
I also love their spray painted logos on the backs of their heads.
Do we know if the other, because there's another henchman who's
He has
kind of
it
a
too.
similar look. Is he a famous martial arts henchman?
I'm sure he's been in a lot. The one right now on the gumballs is not Al Leong. That is
He's not the henchman though.
he's not
Right.
he's not the guy. He's not the
He's
guy.
easily dispatched. There's Leon. We are watching it at this point, by the way.
Now, my favorite thing about this whole scene is the fact that they basically kill Satori.
Yeah. You're saying the brothers lead.
Yeah, they break the gas line. They lock her in the cage. And everything they do is just horrible, and they're terrible people.
If this is your headquarters, how do you have a cage that you don't have the key to? Is that like the sign on the door? Like, don't close this door, it's going to lock. Well, then take the lock out.
That's a very
we
good
just,
point.
we just live here. We didn't.
I also like how when she does the dive kick, he flies through this convenient brick paper set piece, then pops out of it. His trench coat / long jacket. I don't know. I think it's a trench coat. Looks amazing. He does the gimmick with the medallion. His eyes glow, and then he turns into a tune, and it rules. So Satori, she gets locked in a cage. Basically, there's a gas leak. The place is going to blow. Victor Geisman begins to make his hasty retreat. And what happens is Satori decides to sacrifice herself. She gives the Lee brothers the other half of the medallion. Billy has it at this point. And she's like, no, go. I'll distract him. So she gets
by
now
distract-
immediately owned.
Burned to death.
Yeah, she gets karate chopped, but they do a cutaway where like Geisman walks up to her and he like raises his hand. They cut outside. It comes out and she's just slumping. So I assume she got karate chopped to death, but she's not quite dead. Shadow sneaks out the door and then she just gets exploded. Which
I feel like I should clarify the reason they lock her in there, since we didn't mention it, is because Shadow Geisman does inhabit her body and fight them.
Yes, that's correct. That is very important. One of the actually defined powers of the Double Dragon Medallion gives is that he can possess you unless you are wearing the other half of the medallion, which makes you immune to his powers. I also think it's funny that a Bobo comes in his roided up form. He is immediately wrecked and
Yeah.
taken out of the equation,
And all they had to do was knock him off stage into some nets.
which is, I think, a reference to when you first fight a Bobo on the conveyor belt. You can knock him down. Like it can be like a really quick fight. You just kick him until he falls and he just goes in the conveyor belt. Maybe I'm giving them credit.
I don't think anyone involved with this played the game.
Probably not. No, I mean, other than, I guess the people that named them, they probably just got like a little,
They got the call sheet.
yeah, exactly. So after this, rest in peace to Satori, died too young, even younger than the brothers Lee. We cut back to Marion's brother, who is playing a game that looks like what Superman 64 should have been, because he's just
geez.
flying through the air in a city and is like losing his fucking mind about it. That's basically it. This is when we cut to the Bloodsport pit, where Victor Geisman states his intent to become the gang leader of all of New Angeles. The guy who is standing in the middle of the pit, I think he's straight edge. He has X's drawn on him.
Michael Berryman, notorious bald everywhere man.
There we go. He's definitely one of those guys. I'm like, I know that guy.
I've seen that face.
I couldn't remember what his name was or what he'd been in, but I'm assuming just a lifelong great character actor.
He's constantly had no hair and looked 150 years old.
Okay, he's like 35 here.
I would assume
something like
so.
that.
So he could be an ancient.
Oh, he was in The Hills Have Eyes, too.
Yeah.
That seems the original?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. the old one. Yeah,
The old one, the 70s one.
So Victor, he's like, I'm going to be your leader now. I'm uniting all the gangs. I am Kogashuko. No one laughs at him in his stupid fucking outfit, but they do seem doubtful.
Have you seen their outfits?
That's a
Yeah,
fair
they get
point.
to wiggle their frog fingers at
They
him.
wiggle their frog fingers and flip their mohawks. I don't know what the hell they do. But then to assert dominance, he becomes Shadow Cartoon Guy again, and then does a stop choking yourself to the guy in the middle of it. And this guy, I have to give him credit for having to act this out. This has to be one of those things when you're a fucking actor and they're like, we're going to make you choke yourself, and that's how your character dies. I need you to do this for like 45 minutes because it takes way too long. And he is like, and he just keeps going. So everyone's just looking at this guy. There's a shadow in the background where you can see that, Shuko is making him do it. But it's just this guy holding his own throat and dying. And it takes like way too long.
Way too long.
He finally dies. Shuko comes up, and I guess all you need is like one death. And then they're like, Yeah, fuck it. I guess he's the leader now. We ride or die for fucking Kogashuko, you know?
I mean, he can shadow kill you.
That's true. I would not want to fuck with that. So then, any comments on this scene?
You get to first look at all the multiple gangs of New Angeles,
The United Gang.
right? So this is where you see the postman and the frog fingered folk, and then the guys who dress like they're in Belle Biv DeVoe.
There's a reference.
So my question is, do you think the postmen were actual postmen before
It was the 90s, right? People were going postal.
going post? Is that, you think that's what it was?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
These are all just actual, like, what's the word I'm looking for?
Disgruntled.
Disgruntled. Thank you. Postal workers that are just like, yeah, fuck it, we're a gang now.
This just reminds me if I was trying to describe someone that opening scene from The Warriors.
Yeah, it's Warriors ass.
It's Warriors on with like neon spray paint.
Right. Yeah. It's like we have Warriors at home.
Dayglow Warriors.
Dayglow Warriors. So they're into it. I also like these people that are in there that are just wearing suits,
Yeah, they look nice.
like the businessman
Yeah,
gang.
there's that dad in jeans.
Yeah, there's just a guy. He's like, yeah, I got lost on the way to my son's softball or baseball game. Let's go. He'll ride or die now. So we cut from this and united now by Kogashuko, the gangs of New Angeles begin to chase after the brothers Lee, who had some trouble in their engine because it got all cheesed up. A common occurrence.
As engines are wont to
Yeah.
do.
Who among us has not had their engine get all
And this
cheesed up?
that was a real nice scene where Billy's sitting there lamenting the loss of Satori, and Jimmy very warmly comes over and he goes, "Get over it."
Yeah.
Basically, get over it, loser.
Yeah, she's been dead for about 5 minutes.
Grabs his fishing kit and just chucks it into the ocean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All your nice, memories of your old friend, just shit out of here.
Get out of here. We're fucking karate guys. We got to move the fuck on. This is like they time it like a Nintendo cutscene. You've got like 20 seconds to grieve.
Yep.
We're on to the next level.
Sis mom's dead, get over it.
Yeah, exactly. So then they begin walking next to the Hollywood River, and they find,
Oh god, that haircut.
I guess, an encampment of like where the gangs are all kind of together. We also have a clown gang, it looks like, there in the background. Just Pennywise just fucking standing there like in the back right.
Don't start with that.
So
The nightmares.
they start pursuing the brothers Lee. This is just kind of a standard. This is a fight scene. The Lee brothers do karate.
Now, this is the great fight scene where the mailman jumps off the top of the silo, misses them by a ton, and just dies.
He just eats shit completely.
Yeah.
Breaks every bone in his body. And I believe Billy says, wow, I've never seen a postman move that fast before.
Yep. Zing got him.
Zing got his ass.
Burned him real good.
Get wrecked.
Bleeding
Rest in piss.
internally.
Yeah, just done. There is a point where they go into like a shed with a door, and they're kind of like, the ruffians are at the door. And Billy, I believe it's Billy, takes just a long steel pole, and the little dipshit with the mohawk, the
Yeah.
redheaded, the weird science kid, he's like looking in like, we're going to get you. And he just shoves like hard, sticks this pole through and just gets this kid's eye. And I was like, he pulls back and he's just like, oh gosh. And his eye's like a little red. I was like, that would have fucking killed this kid. Like, he did it with such force, it would have just immediately popped his eye like the Mountain style and just like gone straight into his brain.
I like it that he then starts crying and then goes to turn around and hug a fellow gang member
Yeah.
to console him because he got poked in the eye.
I think it's
gang members are people.
they're people. They have feelings.
Yeah.
I think it's important to
They
understand
comfort.
this. Yeah. So, they basically, they do get away onto a boat, and this begins a boat chase
Through flooded Hollywood.
through flooded Hollywood, which is actually a river
It's
apparently
the Cuyahoga River.
in Ohio.
Yep.
And Joe, did you find out the fun story about this chase?
Yes, I did.
Please tell us about it.
So they gave a brief notice to the people in the city that this was going to happen, but they used 700 gallons of gasoline for the explosion in this, and I think within the first 10 minutes after they blew it up, there was 210 phone calls to emergency services about it.
People completely losing their
Their
fucking
city
mind.
was fucking blowing up.
Yeah, this is a pre 9/11 America. Then it's like some people in Ohio would always be scared about like, you remember that like post 9/11, it's like your dumb shit little like suburb. Everyone's worried about the terror threats that are going to happen, but like this is like your fucking bridge just blew up, and you're in this like nice quiet Ohio town city. I don't know where the hell this place is, and it's just like 200 or 700 gallons of fucking gasoline explode. I would be scared shitless.
I do like the boats in here. So whatever boat they have, and I never figured it's like a jet ski boat.
Mm-hmm.
It holds two people, but those are definitely like GT fucking bike handlebars that he's using to steer this boat with. And then the jet skis the henchmen are on have rocket launchers attached to them.
Yeah.
Well, of course.
As you do.
Why not?
The Hollywood River Tour is going on here, which is kind of a big pop that this whole time. They're even in this shitty post-APOC thing, they're still just like middle-aged Midwesterners coming on vacation to be like, oh, look at that. That's the house
Which
where
is
Desi
ironic
Arnaz
because
and
it's
Lucille
actually in
Ball
Ohio.
lived. Right. So, yeah, they're probably confused. First off, this isn't the Hollywood River. What the hell is this boat? Also, are these people terrorists because they blew up our bridge? These Hollywood liberals coming into our town. So they're trying to, and the tour guide is like, he's trying his best while all this fire is going on. Henchmen are shooting rockets. Bridges are blowing up. This guy's still like, and to your left, you'll see the famous Man's Chinese Theater. So props to that guy for like really being dedicated to his job.
The river water.
The river water.
Yes.
Disgusting.
Can't drink it.
Can't drink it.
You get diarrhea.
Diarrhea for a week.
That is another movie we're watching. Also makes note about bad river water. Can't drink the river water. Another common, again, getting back to pollution being a big theme of 90s movies. The brothers Lee are blown up, but they survive. They get off the boat, but they think they got him. And they're like, well, we're going to fish the river to find the other half of this medallion because these guys are definitely dead. They're not. They still have the medallion. And they go about their thing. Now, almost dying and getting exploded. Their first thought is not like, let's get the fuck out of New Angeles. They're like, well, now we got to go kill Kokushuko. Like,
of course.
We got to go to the next level. It's video game protagonist mind. We're like, you never actually think about what's best for your self-preservation. You must simply do the thing, you know? So they go forward.
You can only walk right.
And so after this, we cut to a news report. There's talk that Kokushuko is going to make a deal with the police about changing the truce that has been reached between the police and the gangs. Kokushuko is like, yeah, let's go get that thing. Let's go get that other half of that medallion. The brothers Lee escape and they go, hey, we got to go talk to Marion. We can't do this alone. We need the help of Power Corps.
We need tall boots and short shorts.
We need tall boots, short shorts, and bleach blonde hair. And we cut to, I didn't understand. At first, I thought she was just being nice to a Bobo. But I'm like, she's like force feeding him
Canned spinach.
And I guess this is her form of torture.
Yeah, it's like foie gras style. She's just jamming it in there.
Yeah. And it's like the have all the donuts in the world. Like it's that like just force feeding him spinach. I don't know why spinach.
It's a beer bong, but full of spinach.
Yeah. First off, it would immediately clog in the tiny little tube she has connected to his mouth.
Definitely.
It's too, clumpy. Here we get a running theme. 90s people love farts because the spinach does give a Bobo comical gas.
Spinach farts.
Yeah, spinach farts. He does a couple of those. He's fucking had it. But she's trying to get, I thought she was not, I first thought she was trying to be motherly to him. No, she's torturing.
Yeah, she's trying to get information.
She's Guantanamo Baying his ass with spinach and trying to get some info out of him.
She is spinach boarding him.
She was nice enough to give him a bib, though.
Yeah, a nice little cow bib. He's a messy boy, and he needs to get cleaned up quickly.
Bobo.
I am still wondering if the things on the side of his head are supposed to be just hyperinflated trap muscles.
They look like a travel pillow.
Yeah, a Bobo will be fine on the plane.
I want to know about his forehead lumps.
Yeah, he's got 3 looks like pre-horn growths. I don't know what's going on. He looks like shit. He looks like he should be in another movie we're watching, but we'll get to that later. So we cut away. The brothers Lee, again, they go to the Power Corps, which is called that because it's in a power plant, right?
Yeah.
That's why they call themselves that.
Now, this is where I started watching the movie the first time.
And this is where the movie actually gets fun.
Yeah, this is where it picks up.
Yeah, this is the lead. They have a...
this is a great 30-minute movie.
Yeah. Or, I watched it pretty quick. It was 1.5 speed. I thought that it made the pace frenetic and fun. But yeah, this is definitely the part where it gets good. They have a Nickelodeon slime-ass river going through the middle of it. It's just ooze, or gack or whatever the hell it was called. Just slime, I guess.
Just slime.
Yeah. So they do that. This is where the end, this is the end of the movie. It's kind of the big confrontation. Well, not here first, actually. They do try to infiltrate the headquarters first, but this is the first shot we get of the power.
They do, and when they do try, this is where they come up with the plan to say, "Hey, we're going to try to go get steal the other half of the Double Dragon medallion."
That always goes well.
And it's a stupid plot hole, but for me, the way they decide, oh, we're basically gonna bombard the building and overwhelm security. Well, if it's 1994, I'll tell you what two groups aren't hanging out with. You can have all the gangs together you want, but skateboarders ain't hanging out with kids on rollerblades. One group notoriously made fun of the other.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, inline skaters it's still lame.
You can, yeah. I mean,
You see them occasionally, but it's
they
like,
kicked them out of the X Games because it sucks so bad. They're like,
yeah, you're dorks. Get out of here. That rules. So they go to the headquarters. They infiltrate through a fucking grate. They just go right into the AC vents. I think Marion has some kind of
her power core pin.
Yeah, guide thing to like get them through there. So now this building, at least Kuga's office, is obviously very high in the air. We missed the whole, how did they get fucking 30 floors, 50 floors up climbing through vents?
I also like that they were going to overwhelm security, and that turned into sneak in vents.
Yeah, like there's three of us. This is a huge fucking building. We'll die instantly. So we'll just sneak through vents and somehow traverse like 80 floors.
Vent elevator.
So they see that
Wait, didn't Double Dragon have an elevator level? Or was that just every other arcade game?
I know Turtles in Time had one.
Yep.
I think the Simpsons Konami game did.
Every Streets of Rage game had him.
You got to. Like
I want to
lift,
think
right?
at least the Battletoads and Double Dragons had an elevator.
That was so good.
Like an industrial lift.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
No
yeah.
walls,
Big
just a
raising
platform.
yeah.
And then you just have the people like jump in like, and just wave after wave and
Yep.
keep those quarters going because you're going to get fucked up. So the kids do see this meeting between the Marion's dad, the police officer, and Kogashuko. Am I saying it right?
It's close enough.
Say-
whatever.
you can just say Shuko.
Yeah,
call him
Shuko.
T1000.
Yeah, T1000. So geniusly, like, what are they gonna do? They do this dumb shit fishing, like with a fishing line and like what are they even trying to hook it with? Like a key?
It's a
ring?
power core pin, like you would pin on your shirt.
Oh, okay.
Like a little enamel pin.
Yeah, there's like, okay, so it's a little guy there, the little mascot. So they see that Kogashuko has left the other half of the Double Dragon medallion on his desk, open in its beautiful case that I'm sure you could order off like Etsy now if you want to do it. So they're trying to fish it. They're trying to hook it, hook the little necklace part of it and fish it. And what I love about this is this looks dumb as hell, and you're like, surely someone would notice this. And Linda Lash does.
Eventually.
I mean, it takes
Eventually.
a bit. But, I mean, the minute she kind of looks in that direction, Kogashuko is like doing his like, whatever. He's like not paying attention. Cop dad is like, I need more money from the city government or whatever cops talk about. And then like she gets it. She clocks it immediately. She knows what's going on. She doesn't say anything. They pull the thing up. They know they're about to get made, but they already are. So Linda, not going for her trademark whip, instead goes and gets a giant spear. There's a name for these things, and I don't remember what they are, but it's that kind of like, I guess you would see it in like a lot of Shogun stuff. It's like the long pole,
with the
pole arm with the kind of
with the curved blade on
broad
the end.
knife
curved
on the
blade.
end.
Yeah. She gets one of these, and this is what I had mentioned earlier, or maybe this was before we started taping. She shoves this shit up in the grate, and this looks like a metal grate. Okay, this looks like it's a solid steel, thick air vent. She just cuts through it like butter and almost murders these children. Let's be real with what she's doing here. She was going to kill kids, including the cop's daughter, although maybe she...
Do we know how old these kids are? I've always been curious. How old are they supposed to be? We do know that Alyssa Milano is living at home with her dad.
Right.
But are these supposed to be like, this is my summer after senior year? Or are these supposed to be in their...
It's so hard to tell in 90s things because they had like 35-year-olds.
Yeah,
playing,
these people were older than we are now. Yeah, playing 16-year-olds. But
I take it as like maybe Billy is like junior in high school.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and maybe like Jimmy's a little older. Like maybe he's like, first, second year of college. Maybe. I have no clue. Yeah, they're young.
They're just vague people.
There's vague youths, karate youths. I guess there is no school. Is school ever even talked about in this?
no, it's summertime.
Oh, it's summertime. Yeah.
Oh, and it's the future.
And schools don't exist anymore.
Yeah, the school stopped after the big quake.
Yeah.
This is 2007. Get with the times.
There we go. So there's a brief showdown with Shuko. He's absolutely going to kill the cop's daughter like in front of him. But, Marion kind of freaks him with the okey doke, like kind of like jukes him a little bit, and just they all jump down a convenient elevator shaft like, with a rope in it to escape. They end up in a sub level. I don't know exactly how far they go down. By the way, the rope burn.
Hey, she has gloves.
She does have gloves,
But she's got short shorts.
she's got short shorts. Those thighs are getting fucked up. But if you look at the scene where they're going down,
Oh, that's
just
a long shaft.
the velocity. I think at some point, just velocity would take over, and you would absolutely break every bone in your body when you hit it. Because again, this is a very tall building. This is a skyscraper, and they seem to kind of go into this like subterranean level where they find a bunch of, I think, are these gang members?
They just seem to be dead bodies in a lab.
Yeah.
Because one of them is just a basketball player.
Right.
Doesn't seem to be affiliated with any gang.
Yeah, I at first didn't understand. So I guess what's happening here is that Kogashuko is keeping bodies that he can possess maybe underground, but he's also modifying some of them because some of them have some weird
like metal plates.
metal plates and shit going on. But they do find them. They're in suspended animation, they say. And then one of them, a basketball player.
A basketball zombie guy.
Yeah, a weird basketball zombie, player of the New Angeles Ninjas, no longer the Lakers. I guess that they changed that with the Quake.
Well, there's probably no lakes.
They were the Minnesota Lakers, right? That's where it started. There aren't any lakes, I don't believe, in LA as it is.
They need to get some lakes.
They have probably like a man-made lake, or maybe some reservoirs. But I believe
not as
the
catchy.
LA Lakers began as a Minnesota basketball team.
Then they moved to Los Angeles where there are no lakes.
Exactly. Right. But they kept the name for some reason. The New Angeles Ninja gets his ass beat, but he is possessed by Kogashuko. At first, because he goes like, did you miss me or something like that. They square off, including Marion, who we have no understanding of her being like a kung fu fighter, but I guess she's ready to whip ass too if she needs to. I thought this was someone who I missed earlier in the fight. Like, I didn't recognize that was Robert Patrick's voice. So I was like, who the hell is this guy? Again, this is the risk you take when you're watching it very quickly. So he becomes this embossed version of himself with the Double Dragon medallion again. He's fucking with him with his magic powers. They turn on a fan that he gets sucked into. I don't understand how a fan sucks in a shadow.
Yeah, I that was sus.
Yeah.
So he has shadow power and can control all these things, but he's still apparently
Like he's
can get sucked into a
incorporeal.
fan.
Right?
I guess he's made
Well,
of
maybe not
air.
if he can play the piano.
That's true. It's fucking inconsistent, and it drove me insane. So he gets sucked in like the Nazi in the fucking Indiana Jones movie into the jet turbine. Like he gets sucked in there. That was that movie, right?
And then they're like, I guess, is that it?
Yeah. They're like, oh, we did it.
If they now know this, when they go back to Power Core, why not just buy a bunch of box fans and turn them on anytime Kogashuko comes in?
Ruined. Well, we'll get to how
We'll get to the other
get to that.
the other sense that is bad for him.
So then the fan starts turning again. So first it shuts down, like, it blows the fan. It shreds up his little shadow. Then it starts turning. I'm like, did he possess the fucking fan? And that's not what happened. Thank goodness. It just, I guess, starts going again, and he kind of comes back in. I guess he removed his shadow bits from the engine. And then they get attacked by, like, I don't know, like we have Juggernaut at home, kind of this guy with like a steel head. Is this another villain from the game that I just don't remember? This bullet
Not that I
head guy?
remember.
Yeah, looking like a piece of shit.
He looks like a Ninja Turtles villain.
He does. Yeah, he kind of looks like whatever the robot turtle's name was.
Yeah.
He kind of looks like he kind of has his energy going on. So they managed to Billy and Marion managed to escape, but Jimmy is bear hugged by the cut rate Ninja Turtle villain, and missing his dead father, he succumbs to the hold. He has not had close physical contact with another older male figure, and he immediately falls into his embrace. And Jimmy is captured.
It looks like a good hug.
It's a pro wrestling ass bear hug. It doesn't work in pro wrestling. It doesn't work in Double Dragon the movie. But for some reason, he goes out. So that's what happens. So then we go to the news program, Channel 69. Nice. Is reporting. I don't remember what they report. It's basically all out gang warfare, I believe. Maybe they're breaking the truce. The cops here. Kudos to Double Dragon for showing the truth, which is that cops are inherently weak, cowardly creatures. As the chief is like, let's go take the streets back. And they're like,
Oh, no.
nah, we're good.
No, that's nighttime shit.
Yeah.
We work the daytime.
Yeah. First off, they would absolutely jump at the chance to get overtime. But second, they're just like, no, fuck that. We'll lose and get our asses beat, and we don't want to do it.
Yeah, there's a lot more than one of them, so we're not going.
Yeah. So they're dumb. But I mean, really good self-preservation on the part of the cops. At least you got to give them that. You do, in fact, got to at least slightly hand it to them. So Chief Dad is he's feeling bad about the force. He's like, how am I gonna beat this guy? My daughter's out there. She's doing what we should be doing. And we cut back to Koga. He is smoking, I think, cloves, right?
Gotta be.
Like,
Definitely cloves.
that is the icing on the fucking cake about what an asshole this guy is. Like, he is smoking
This
cloves.
is like Jerry and Blacks or whatever.
Yeah, out of a fucking cigarette holder with his Vanilla Ice ass haircut, his terrible goatee. This is like,
Sweet, creamy. It's not a turtleneck. Is that ghee that he's wearing underneath his coat?
it's like a sash kind of deal. Like
All I
maybe
know
it
is-
is
I can't tell if it's supposed to be like karate ghee.
more like
They
a
just
really
pull
big
it tight.
ascot.
His fit is incredible.
His fit is his drip is impeccable.
Yeah.
Chin down. Looks
Chin down.
great.
Yeah, the top is just a fucking
Stands the test of
Horrible.
time
No,
without
it's
a doubt.
Dad got into Vanilla Ice.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's like divorcee dad of 1994 who got really into that. You know, I don't really like all this hip hop music, but that Vanilla Ice guy, I can relate to him for some
That
reason.
ninja rap.
This is Go Ninja Go, like made flesh. So have a final showdown. Billy and Marion back at Power Core headquarters. They have a little bit of a pep talk. Marion's cheering him up. They have an almost kiss, but it doesn't work because Power Core is being invaded and by the gangs. There's the little Nickelodeon slime river that a few people get tossed into. I assume their skin immediately dissolves and they die.
It has to.
Yeah, because we never see him again.
What else would you want to have at your headquarters where you party and have a good time is not a death river.
Yeah, like-
it runs through the middle.
Zero guardrails, fucking OSHA violations all over the fucking place. Why is it this green? We saw the Hollywood River earlier. It's not like Boston on St. Patrick's Day green.
Maybe this is like runoff from the power plant.
Okay, maybe so. Is it a nuclear?
I don't think they put this much
Which
thought
the
into
power
it.
plant doesn't seem to run real well since they're constantly relying on the generator.
Right, yeah.
To get the building back up and going.
Yeah, maybe it's like a decommissioned one, and it was like, well, we got all this goop in here. I guess we're going to keep the goop river.
I mean, you don't want to lose the goop.
Yeah, look,
It
people
ties the room
they
together.
would pay good money for this. It does work with the color code or the color scheme of the whole deal.
Yeah, the color blocking is impeccable with that slime.
I do like how this is like the set of Roundhouse from Snick, like just all the fucking tags everywhere. Like this is also incredibly fucking 90s. Just the look of this place.
It's just like the hideout for the Foot Clan in the first Ninja Turtles movie.
Absolutely. They it's all this shit.
And it's perfect. I wanted to hang out there.
Yeah. Oh, I want to hang out here. I want to hang out with the power core.
Not with a Bobo.
A Bobo is looking in the mirror, having some self-reflection. I don't think he wants to be a villain no more.
I just don't think he wants to be
saw
all
the
bloated.
pretty lady in the swimsuit, and then he looked up and saw his demon face in the mirror. He goes, oh!
And he realized he's never going to pull ass anymore.
Yeah.
And then the single tear.
And then the single
And the weird yodeling sound.
again.
Probably because he realized he can't touch his wiener either, so he's
Yeah.
just done for life. Like it's
Yeah.
over.
It's that realization, that shocking realization when you get too buff, you're like,
Yeah, it's
I
that
can't do it
Brian
anymore.
Cage can't wipe his ass.
Yeah, exactly. So or touch his shoulders.
Oh, head, shoulders, knees, and toes, loser.
So now we get the showdown here. Kogashuko, we see Jimmy Lee show up, and at first Billy is like, "Big bro, let's go," and then he kicks him in the fucking face. Jimmy kicks Billy, that is,
About time.
because it's not Jimmy, it's Kogashuko possessing Jimmy. He calls Jimmy, what does he call him?
Dragonfly.
And he's like, "Don't call me." That was a thing earlier in the movie. It doesn't fucking matter. It's totally stupid, but here's the callback to it. So the brothers Lee begin to fight. But the thing is now, Billy has that other medallion. So the powers of Kogashuko are of no effect on young Billy. Great shot, of course. There is a Double Dragon arcade machine, which is really just reality fucking collapsing on itself in this sense.
The only arcade machine that actually has a title on, everything else is tagged over,
Yep.
and it's just blank machines. But so you got to pepper in it a little bit.
Gotta have it. And they immediately kick through the screen, which is that asserting dominance over the
I
Double
can just see the
Dragon?
director being like, oh shit, this is a game?
Yeah. Really? Yeah, they kick straight through it. Double Dragon by Taito. I bet that cabinet would probably go for a pretty penny nowadays. Not this one specifically because it's broken because he kicked through it, but just an original arcade cabinet. So they fight through this little arcade. It's lovely because get it? It was an arcade game. Haha, it's a video game, remember? So then they have this little showdown. They try to, Koga threatens to kill the body of Jimmy unless Billy turns over the other half of the medallion. Billy is like, fuck my brother. No, I won't do that. And then they're going to drop a heavy bag on him.
Yeah.
Billy pushes his brother or his brother's body out of the way and takes the brunt of it. He's like, fine.
Wait, that's the power of his medallion.
Okay, so his medallion.
His medallion is the power over the body, and the other one's the power over the soul.
Oh, okay. That's probably another thing that I totally missed. So thank you for making this make more sense. But unfortunately, Koga does get the full medallion. And
Yeah, I was expecting something really awesome to happen.
yeah, it doesn't.
No, he turns into two bad guys from Buffy.
Yeah, so he becomes what I put was he becomes a like an orc. It's like Peter Jackson's orcs but ninjas.
Low budget orc ninjas.
Also, I really want to go back here because I missed something very, very important. Earlier, Linda Lash also comes in and starts whipping ass.
Yeah, she brings the whip.
Unintended. So we're there's the moment. Remember the whip lady from the games? Here she is, folks, in glorious 3D. So she starts fighting with Marion. And at one point, I think she gets the best of her. She walks up and she goes, "Now who's the boss?" And I popped huge. And at this point, I was texting all of you. I was live watching it in our group text. And I said, she should say something like, "I'll send you," Alyssa Milano should be like, "I'll send you to the General Hospital," because the woman who played Linda Lash, basically her only other noteworthy credit is 35 fucking years on the soap opera General Hospital.
Oh, geez.
At minimum, that's just, I think, when I last saw the Wikipedia had been updated. So who knows?
Sentence.
I think it was 84 is when she started. So
Holy moly, okay.
whether she's still on it now, I don't know, but she did at least 35 years on it. And so, but what happens is then Marion, who also can fight, everyone knows karate, of course, she gets the best and she goes, "You're lucky. I generally send people to the hospital." And I was hooting and hollering. I threw my fucking headphones off and I said, 10 out of 10, baby. No notes. That's all I fucking needed was that pun. So now, fast forward, Kogashuko has gotten the Double Dragon Medallion. He becomes two orcs
Yeah.
for some reason.
Crusty Shadow Ninjas.
Two villains from Charmed.
They have some ninja weapons, but the brothers Lee really pretty handily whip their ass. Like, this fight scene is not that
It's
impressive.
because they realize their weakness,
Yes.
which is, of course, turning the lights on.
Turning the lights on. It was
When he has
really
one
weird.
medallion,
We don't know
fans-
why they're sensitive to light. There was never
No.
any implication that his shadow form with the one medallion was sensitive to light because he would turn into a shadow.
Well, he was sensitive to fans.
That's true. Yeah, fans light, very related. When you combine the body and
So he
the soul,
would thrive in an Amish community.
That's true. Yeah, it's a very, very low tech kind of a thing. That's why it's from ancient China.
It's an old medallion.
Then
exactly.
maybe not New Angeles, maybe Central Pennsylvania is where he should try to take over next.
So Marion
work?
goes to crank the generator, and there's something I'd risk it all for her right there. Like just her just ripping that thing. Alyssa Milano just killing it. And then the lights come on, and like that's it.
Yeah. No
they
power.
They just kind of dissolve.
Oh, wait. Because this is once the light comes on and they smash them back together. This is where the brothers, they do the stupid handshake.
Uh-huh.
And then they just swing each other around a few times.
They just do.
in
they
a
just do
callback to the
spin
first
kicks.
fight.
Yep.
Yeah.
So then this is when they do the ching. They have to push the metal, the dragon.
Oh, yeah. They
Medallion together.
combine their medallions so they get their cool outfits.
They literally kick the two orcs back into one
Yes.
Kogashuko. I don't know why that works.
What a sentence.
Yeah. Inside you are two wolves. Inside every man is two orcs. They clank it together. He goes, "Oh shit!" One of them tried to
How
say,
many times do you think it'd
earlier.
take to get that shot correct?
to actually make them clink?
Yeah, to make them go.
They missed it.
Ching.
1,000
Yeah,
times.
yeah.
Hopefully they put magnets in them to make it easier.
See, movie magic.
Movie
Wow.
magic. Yeah. So earlier, here's the big joke: is I believe Billy is about to say, "Oh shit!"
Yeah, and he gets
cut off. But now Victor, seeing them about to reunite the medallion, he goes, "Ah, shit!" And they go, "You said it."
Finally, the payoff.
So Now, when the brothers Lee click the thing together, okay, first off, these Power Rangers ass sparkle effects when they're transforming,
Literal sparkles.
Tornado sparkles.
literal tornado sparkles, they show up in these fucking geese, red and blue, because get it, haha, that's Double Dragon. Billy wears blue and Jimmy wears red. They never wear geese in the
No,
in
they
the
wear
games.
street clothes in the game.
Yeah, it's a street fight.
They didn't wear anything like this until the cartoon that came out the year before.
Yeah, right. Was it based on the movie or like
No,
it
the
was all
cartoon
gonna
came
be-
first.
Okay.
And then they also had those stupid fucking masks in the cartoon, though.
See, I don't remember the Double Dragon
Oh,
cartoon
it was real bad.
whatsoever.
It was real. Do you remember, Travis?
Yeah.
Yeah, it sucked.
Yeah, I mean, well, most cartoons did, especially spin-off ones. Like, not everything was a Batman the Animated Series.
Not everything was Street Sharks.
That's also true. So, for some reason, Satori's spirit is just fucking appears.
It's been locked inside the medallion the whole
There's
time.
nothing that ever gives you a hint of that. She
It's
gets
just
exploded.
so Spaceballs at this point.
It is, yeah. Like, she's like fucking, yeah, Spaceballs. She's like that, or she's like Zordon without the tube. Like, she just kind of goes, she's like, the power is inside you all along, basically. Like, aha.
It's like, no, it was actually in the medallions. We just figured that out.
Yeah, yeah. And how did she get there? No one fucking knows. So now they just beat
Look at
the
that kick.
living
Did you see
shit.
that kick?
Yeah.
That was the hardest kick the Lord
that
has
kick
ever
was
seen.
It
stiff.
was a liver shot. Yeah, he just got him right in the fucking...
Like, he didn't pull that at all.
So Victor Geisman, he's definitely not Kogashuko anymore because he has no
He lost his
medallion.
trench coat, so
I still thought he knew karate. He doesn't even put up a fight here.
No.
He gets absolutely fucking owned. Jimmy jumps into Victor in a little turnabout as some fair play bullshit. And he starts,
he turns him into a
Goofy.
California bro. How did they?
he turns into a California bro, and it just becomes, we just do some fucking Three Stooges slapstick shit. That's the big payoff, is he's like, why you hit? And he literally says, stop hitting yourself. He makes Victor
Of course he does.
slap himself in the face, talk like a dipshit. The cops arrive. Everyone's laughing at what a fucking loser Victor is, which fair. At this point, I guess that went out of fashion like right before this happened. So like, what a fucking loser. Now he looks like a dork. Abobo is a good guy now. He's laughing. And the cop dad comes in. He's so happy to see his hot daughter. And and Jimmy Geisman, Jimmy Shuko immediately admits to every crime. He tries to write a check to the
Yeah, he
cop.
read for like $189 million.
$129 million.
Yeah, and checks don't look like checks. It's some weird fucking...
It looks like a ticket.
Yeah, it
Like
looks
a lottery ticket, yeah.
He's like, here's $1 bajillion. The cop's like, are you bribing me? He's like, yes, I am. You should arrest me. And then once that's done, Jimmy hops back out. Victor, who I guess had powers before, he at least seemingly seemed capable even without the half of the medallion.
No.
Can't do anything about this now. Everyone's happy. Victor is carted off to jail.
Now he's just sad dad.
Yeah, he's just sad dad.
Now, after all the bad guys, the main bad guy's been beaten up, and all the danger is gone.
Now the cops are back.
Now the cops are back. Like, oh no, we're here now.
Yeah, what do you know?
We're
Yeah.
night cops now.
Now they fucking show up. Yeah, we took back the streets. It's like, no, you're just getting overtime at this point. They just parked out. They were like sitting there drinking Dunkin'. They're just like waiting for it. And they're like, shit, boss is coming. And they're like, yeah, they all have their SWAT gear. Cause of course they have fucking SWAT gear.
Of course.
And their tanks and shit. And they're like, yeah, we're back. Yeah, exactly. Fucking cops. So the Lee brothers are still wearing their dork ass like little outfits. Victor is carted off to jail, and the heroes essentially like that's it. They decide to ride off into the sunset. Now they get into a hot rod car. I want to make a
Marion
comment
has fixed up their car.
as they're getting in. As Victor is getting shoved into the cop car, he goes, you think I'm bad? Wait till you talk to my lawyers, or wait till you see my lawyers. I'm like, a lawyer
the whole
joke.
thing just had to throw in a lawyer joke.
Yeah. As a lawyer, I resent that.
you resemble that remark?
As
I
a
resemble
lawyer,
that remark.
you'll be hearing from me.
So they get the dragon wagon, baby. It is the
geez.
shittiest. This was absolutely. We're gonna make this a toy.
Yeah.
Kids are gonna buy this. Because it's a shitty little Oldsmobile with a fucking like the shittiest little airbrush dragon art on the side of it.
It's like the Ecto one.
It's
when
the
I'm
most
my
budget
ride.
Ecto one ever.
Yeah, and this is definitely the car that is owned by the weird guy in your neighborhood that no one's ever actually seen leave his house.
Oh yeah.
Abobo offers to drive. They think it's Billy possessing Abobo.
Yeah.
Which I always thought was odd because Jimmy's the one with the possession powers,
Right.
Not Billy.
But
Maybe-
also remember, they're all stupid.
Yeah, they're also all idiots. And so Jimmy sits with Marion, and he's like, finally we're alone now that Jimmy's not here because they think Jimmy is possessing Billy, sorry, that Billy's not here because they think Billy's possessing a Bobo. And then Billy pops up like fucking.
Why was he just creeping in the back seat?
He's like Charlie, like the wild card pop up. You know, he's like
Wild card, bitches.
Yeehaw! And then they do yeehaw because it's actually a Bobo who we learned earlier is a very reckless driver. They go, oh no! And then a Bobo hits the gas. They rev it. Fire shoots out of the dragon wagon, and they start going down the highway as credits roll, and we see the two henchmen, including the henchman,
Ao Leong.
on the side of the road with a funny thing. Will hinge for food. Thugs seek ruthless boss. They make a little joke. And we see that the car is still traveling down the road. Looks to be very slowly.
That's like 20 miles an hour.
Yeah. Fire is shooting out of it, and they're not hauling ass down this bridge. And we get directed by James Yukich, and the credits roll. And that is Double Dragon.
Oh, and the biggest sad part right there, story by Paul Dini. If they would have let him just continue, it could have been so much better.
Do you know when he got ousted in the development?
Very early.
Okay. And then they gave it to Neil Shusterman?
No, Neil Shusterman was helping him originally. Then they gave it to Michael Davis and Peter Gould.
Okay.
Now, I think it was Peter Gould who got better later on.
Oh, do you have some other stuff from some later works of Peter Gould?
Yeah, he actually became a big writer and producer for Breaking Bad, and he was one of the co-showrunners for Better Call Saul.
God damn, what a glow up.
He stepped up.
That's good. You like to see it. You like to see the early missteps, you stand tall at the end.
And Paul Dini, in case y'all don't know, he was the one who did all the writing for Batman the Animated Series.
I did not know
had
that.
very good writing.
Yeah, that's the second reference to Batman the Animated Series so far.
It's
so
a good show.
So there we go. These people did good work, just not necessarily on this.
Just not on this one.
Yeah. So let's think here. And again, me watching this was my first time. So what we were usually going to do is talk about, did this movie hold up? Did it match up to our memories? So I had no memories. These are brand new memories taking up space in my limited brain. So we'll start with Travis. What do you think?
Yeah, this is the same movie I watch every couple of years. I love it just for that reason. It is 100% early 90s. I don't want to say dog shit because I enjoy the hell out of it, but it's not. If I guarantee if you brought this to a layperson on the street and you're like, "Hey, watch this movie," they go, "Why the fuck did you just do that to me?"
So
It's
you wouldn't recommend it for a first timer?
Oh, I would, but that's just because
You're mean.
yeah. Well, it's
Because I got brain problems.
yeah. It's to me. This is. I remember. I love this because this is. I remember going to see it at the theater the first time. Every time I watch it, it's just as bad as it ever was. And so it hits home for me.
Same as it ever was.
How can you pass up tall boots, short shorts, Alyssa Milano?
Killing it here.
God.
Killing it here.
Damn.
Risk it all. It is very of a time.
Yes.
Oh, very.
Like, it is a very much that early mid 90s time capsule. I didn't mention this in the beginning. Based off what I saw, and I'm sure I'm missing something, I believe this is the second kind of major video game movie. Super Mario Brothers with Bob Hoskins and John Leguizamo came out the year before in 93. And Street Fighter came out 1 month after this with the Jean-Claude Van Damme live action Street Fighter. And the next year was Mortal Kombat. So this was kind of early in that little run of shitty video game movies.
He means great.
Yeah, they're great. They're great. They're of a time. They're bad. They're objectively bad movies, but I love every one of them.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
This was a treat for the last third. Joe, how do you feel?
The last third of the movie totally lived up to my memories. It was great. It was colorful. I love the visuals. It had acting, I guess.
People acted in the
But that first hour or so, completely unnecessary.
Yeah,
It didn't really do anything.
it just needs to be. It's just a fight. Like you just need one big fight scene.
It's a fight and a chase and a fight and a chase.
Yeah, and then you get to the big showdown, and it was a lot of fun.
And Satori dies for some reason.
You gotta get the motivation.
Yeah.
Begin the hero's journey.
Oh, that's true. I guess they could have just sat in their theater and not care.
Yeah, that was Obi-Wan getting cut down by.
Because they didn't even know about the medallion until she died. Right before she died, she's like, "Oh, by the way, here's this magical medallion that I have."
Yeah, your dad
BT
had
dubs, y'all. BT dubs.
Oh, they're saying that's what she said. I thought you were saying BT dubs. I'll say BT dubs. It is given away at some point that Kogashuko or Victor Geisman was an associate of their dad. Like they knew each other.
Yeah.
I think he killed their dad.
I believe one of the lines here that Koga said was, "You're weak like your father."
There you go.
To which Billy responded, "You're ugly like your mother."
I wrote the
Got
that's
his ass.
love that. That was one of the quotes I always remembered growing up because
It's like the only
it's
good Billy
delivered
line.
it's delivered wonderfully, but it's also like one of those jokes when you're 9 or 10 years old. You're like, yeah, got you.
Wrecked. Yeah, it's I think this was. I basically agree with you, Joe. The last third, basically, when they get back to Power Core,
It's so good at that point.
it's silly. It's like the right kind of just nutty, dumb bullshit karate stuff. And because they had the "Who's the boss now?" Now you know they want to say "Who's the boss now, bitch," but they didn't. Because they're trying to
couldn't.
keep it.
Do we know what this was rated? I'm assuming it was PG.
I believe
PG-13?
PG.
Okay.
It would have to be PG. This wouldn't be G.
no, this
No,
has
no.
to be PG.
Yeah, I'm going to guess this is PG. And then generally I send people to the hospital because you could have just said I'll send you to the general hospital because they had to torture that pun. Loved it. Just all just 10 out of 10 for me on that part. So would you recommend it? I believe, Travis, you already kind of answered. You would recommend it to a first-time viewer in 2023 because you're a sociopath.
Yeah, and I'm quite fond of it, and I like people that live in the same weird headspace that I do. So
Okay. Joe?
Pass. I would not.
I
Although for a early 90s movie especially, it did avoid some of the worst parts of that time period.
what are
Like there
those?
weren't a lot of like homophobic or racial jokes.
Yeah, that's true.
it holds up fairly well as far as
Yeah.
something you could actually still.
Yeah, it's not problematic.
You mainly cringe at the
Other
acting.
than there's a little the cultural I mean, the whole movie is fucking
Yeah,
cultural appropriation.
Yeah.
Let's get that out of the way first. And the Mohawks is slightly problematic. But yeah, in terms of that, like no gay slurs that were kind of common in a lot of kids' movies, like oddly prevalent. Yeah, I think it's mostly in good fun. But I would also not recommend it to anybody.
But now you say that. Now, how would you have felt 20 years from now, being like, "Oh, I could have watched the whole movie with Alyssa Milano and looking
I
like
mean,
that"? You'd be like, "Oh,
I missed out. I might.
I'm not saying the whole movie's worth that."
I don't know. This movie
But
came out when
if-
I was 9.
Yeah.
Well, that's
I
what I'm
wouldn't-
saying.
I wouldn't have even
But if you're
appreciated
going to
it.
watch it for the first time now, if I was recommending somebody to watch it now,
Oh, I'd look her up and be like, "Who's that?" And I'd look her up and be like, "Oh,
Was that lady from Charmed?
it's the lady from Twitter."
I love
Oh, the lady
Charmed.
from Twitter. Yeah, exactly. Charmed was good.
I loved Charmed.
Yeah.
I used to wake up extra early and watch Charmed all the time on the reruns. That's what I did as a young adult.
I might recommend someone just watch the last bit.
There you go.
Yeah,
Watch
if
the
you could
last
start
third.
just at Power Core.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
You don't need to know the rest of the
It's
story.
just an episode of Double Dragon at that point.
Exactly. Yeah.
This would have made a great show back then.
It would have made a show. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, see?
Okay.
We agree.
Yeah, sure. So final grade, how many stars do you give this?
I gave it 1.5.
1.5.
And the 0.5 just was because it wasn't too offensive.
Okay.
It got a boost.
All right. 1.5. Travis?
I'll go right down the middle and just give it I'll give it a 3.5. Again, a part of that nostalgia. It's been a movie that I've watched all the time growing up. I don't think it's not a great movie by any means, but it's a movie that has a close place in my heart. So
There you go. I'm going to be a fucking coward and give it a 2.5 right in the middle of
you go.
both of you. I actually think that's fair because it's not horribly made. Like, it's not the worst thing I've ever seen in terms of like production value or anything like that. The acting is stupid. I mean, the story is awful, but there's a lot of camp fun in it. The last third, I genuinely thought was a lot of fun. And like, it's bad, but it's good bad. And I am not a person who usually, like, if it's just bad, I'm not going to like it. But this was really good bad. So yeah, it's 2.5 would be average. No, I should probably go 2. It's a little below average.
I think if a 9 or 10-year-old me saw
Subpar.
this movie, would have lost his goddamn mind. Because I know after I saw it, like me and my little brother were doing the fucking handshake thing everywhere we go. You were jacked as a little kid.
If I would have seen this as a kid, I would have absolutely loved it. I know that would have been like 5 stars. This is awesome.
yeah. So this is just my child brain.
Yeah, you got your
That,
nostalgia.
My child brain.
It's never grown up. It lives there. Takes over the majority of my head.
I mean, this is our first review. I think it's fair. I mean, get ready for that. Nostalgia is gonna.
Oh, that's the
bump
point,
grade.
yeah.
Yeah, we don't have to be critical on these.
Yeah,
It's
no.
all subjective.
It's vibes based.
Now, one thing I will say, as far as my memory goes, out of the big 4 video game movies from that time, Super Mario Brothers, Double Dragon, Street Fighter, and Mortal Kombat, this is the worst.
See,
Now, saying that, I haven't seen any of the others since I was a kid.
okay.
But as far as my memory goes, this was the worst of them.
This was certainly this was even more campy than Mario Brothers.
That's because Mario Brothers was perfection.
Well, those were all, like, if you think about it, those were all kind of had like a dark setting to them. There was something kind of evil going
Technically, kind of did.
on. Not in the Power
Not
Core.
really. Yeah, that's true. That's true.
This is the dark future of 2007 here, guys.
I mean,
Is that when this is supposed to take
Yeah,
place?
this one takes place in 2007.
2007. Okay.
2007.
So I would have been living in Wisconsin,
Yeah.
being a big sad.
So where were all the scene kids? I need the emo swoops and the
Yeah. It's not a fair representation. They
they kind of missed on what actually happened. In
I wish they would have been accurate. Imagine scene kids with frog fingers
wearing like Mickey Mouse gloves with frogs.
listening to The Faint.
Hell yeah. I would say this is actually, I think, from what I can remember, and I have not seen them in a long time either, I actually think it's probably Mario or Street Fighter are worse because I think they try harder.
How dare you?
I mean, we'll get, if we ever talk about it, that'll be a point of contention. I think that movie stinks. But Street Fighter, I think like it was kind of still trying to be serious, and so it failed harder. Where this one's a little bit like purposely lighthearted, that it kind of can get away with it sucking in a way that I feel is worse.
I think it knows it sucks.
Yeah, it knows it sucks. Like,
Yeah.
I don't think Street Fighter knew how bad it sucked.
Jean-Claude didn't.
Jean-Claude absolutely did not. Raul Julia absolutely did.
Oh, yeah.
And he's the best part of the fucking movie. But we can get to that another day. So I'll go with a 2. And let's see. I guess that wraps up Double Dragon. Let's kind of talk about where people can find us, Joe.
All right, well, you can find us on Instagram at Video City Podcast and at Twitter at Video City Pod. And if you stay tuned next time, we'll be watching a classic movie starring Alex Winters, Keanu Reeves, and William Sadler. Sound spicy?
Does. It might not be what you think.
Ba-ba-ba-bum.
All right, we'll see you next time. Thank you so much. We'll see you next time on Video City.
Next time on Video City.
The dude from Stand By Me, what was his name? And Sliders?
I don't fucking know.
He's got
O'Connell.
Jerry O'Connell.
Was it Jerry O'Connell?
Yeah.
He was the one in Joseph Hart?
Yeah.
How did he survive? He got to be Robin
He's
after
got
that,
a
didn't
Disney have a
that's
daytime
Chris
talk show
That's
now?
Chris O'Donnell, not Jerry O'Connell. Right?
They should have named
Correct,
better.
yes.
Who fucking cares? Whatever. Anyway, this shit sucks. Every movie we just mentioned fucking stinks.